Hey y'all, it's Kelly Clarkson with Wayfair, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. Picture this. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app when you spot it. A brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's room of choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
What time-saving business building tips can you learn from Kyle Wilson? Stay tuned and find out.
Welcome.
Okay, here's the question.
Serious?
How are we dark horses? You know, the ones everyone is betting against, the ones they don't expect to win, place, or even show on the track, and they'll even laugh on us when we talk about trying. How do we show the world our greatness and triumph?
Come on.
Well, that's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers.
Let's go.
This is The Dark Horse Entrepreneur. My name is Tracy Brinkman.
And push it up.
What is up? What is up, my Dark Horse friends and family? Welcome back to your daily dose of marketing brilliance learning. I'm your Dark Horse host, Tracy Brinkman, and you? Well, as you already know, that is infinitely more important. You, my friend, are a driven entrepreneur or one in the making. Either way, you're here because you're ready to start, restart, kickstart, or just start leveling up with some great marketing, personal, or business tips and results. Build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it absolutely deserves to be. That's why I'm here hitting you with yet another daily success episode coming to you straight from the Dark Horse HQ as we dive deep into success with actionable advice, tips, and steps designed to help you level up your game because as we already know, there are no shortcuts to success except for taking those little steps towards your goal every single day. And I definitely appreciate you coming to hang out with us here for the next, maybe 10, 20 minutes that we'll be hanging out. And if you get value from this podcast or have been getting value from this podcast, then if you would be so kind as to go on down there and hit that subscribe button, leave us a 5-star rating and drop us some kind words in the review. Those subscribes, ratings, and reviews tell the podcast platforms to kick us up a little bit in the rankings so that we can reach even more driven entrepreneurs just like yourself. So if you're getting value, take a moment, show the love, and help spread the word. Thanks so much. You know, I think one of the smartest things that we as entrepreneurs can do, other than listening to this podcast, no, I'm kidding, is learn all the cool tips and tricks from those that are far further along in their journey. Because think about it, every time management program is going to tell you, hey, create a calendar, start changing habits, create a to-do list, which is awesome advice, right? If you're going to do that. But if you think about it, there's probably no better business hack, productivity hack, marketing hack than learning from the experts. I think it's one of the reasons, it is one of the reasons why I bring on the guests that I do on the Monday interview episodes so that they can share those tips and tricks from their long backgrounds. And when I think about marketing and the 50 plus years I've been around, one of the names that comes to mind for me is Kyle Wilson, the marketing genius behind the man Jim Rohn. That's right. To me, he's like the godfather of personal development. And I know Kyle and Jim were together, 16 years. Kyle was also the co-author of Chicken Soup for the Entrepreneurial Soul with Jack Canfield. And he's done a number of other things with big names. But his advice when it comes to marketing is legendary. And so I wanted to share some of the tips that I have gleaned from Kyle Wilson over many, many years of being in the marketing game. The first one is the wheel, and I've used the wheel in the personal development arena. So imagine, if you will, a bicycle wheel or a motorcycle wheel that's got 5 or 6 spokes. And each one of the spokes of this is an arm of your business. So you'll have a marketing spoke. You'll have a prospecting spoke. You'll have a customer service spoke. You'll have a product delivery spoke, so forth and so on. And here's where the magic comes. If you were to rank each one of those arms, each one of those spokes inside your business, and then try to roll that wheel off the rankings of those spokes, would it be a little bumpy? Yeah. For most of us, the answer is yes. There's probably one or more spokes in our business wheel that we need to extend a bit to match the other arms of our business. So one of the great business tips to give here is, where is your wheel flat? Go after that bad boy and pump it up. All right, the next one that I really like is the teaser, or you could call it the mystery. If you think about it, dating can be likened to marketing in a lot of ways, right? You go out on that first date, you start to share some information, but you don't lay everything out on the first date, right? Well, maybe you do. Why didn't they come back, right? You want to lay everything out in context. Well, here's my high values. And I think when it comes to marketing in the digital marketing space, there's a lot of similarities in that way. What you can do with your emails or your content is send out teaser content, right? You can think of it like the trailer for a movie. You don't show everything, right? You show some of the best bits. You want to hook them, right? You want to grab their attention. You want to make them gasp. You want to make them giggle. You want to make them cry. Just a little bit. Just enough, right? Pull at their heartstrings. That way they'll raise their hand. They'll say, "Ooh, I'm interested in that." And then you move on to the next step of the customer journey. And then for those that didn't raise their hand, well, then you can go back and reveal some more content and dig a little bit deeper, get that second date, etc., and go on until all your bases are covered. But you never want to reveal your secret sauce, right? And that's the next thing. I think every person, every company needs to have some sort of special feature or technique or personality that differentiates them from the competition. They can copy what you do, but they can't copy how you do it, or they can't copy this secret sauce. And you think about it, right? McDonald's has their system, right? The way they do their business, how they make the burgers, how they run their business, how they run everything. I worked at McDonald's as a kid, so I can remember there's a process for everything. Coca-Cola. I worked for Coca-Cola for 12 years. My goodness, almost forgot how long it was. And of course, Coke had the recipe, and Apple had the Apple Store that helped drive everything in their meteoric rise. All these big names, they have something special that they offer to their audience. What's your secret sauce? And sometimes that is going to mean reinventing yourself. And I don't mean becoming someone different. Maybe, I think more of what I mean is adjusting the focus on a part of you that's already you that maybe you haven't been focusing on. So many times when I'm talking to up and coming, those that are getting ready to start and restart their businesses, usually they're not focusing on something that just makes them amazing because it's so second nature to them. I mean, we think about folks like Colonel Sanders way back when, right? We've all heard the story. He goes out and he tries to pitch his chicken recipe to hundreds of restaurants until he finally gets a yes. But he did this at 62. Right? And that's when he started his multi-million-dollar empire. And he didn't reinvent himself. He just started focusing on a piece of him that was really, really cool. So what piece of you is really, really cool? Now, you may have to step outside yourself and look in or ask for others for assistance, because sometimes the part of you that's really, really cool is something you really take for granted. All right? And then as you're reinventing yourself, I think one of the things you're going to do is continue to learn. So books and courses and knowledge building continues to be the forefront. I think one of the cool things about that, and I mentioned this in a previous episode, I can't remember if it was this week or last week, but you can build yourself some Google Alerts or other tools that are out there. So when new content comes out that is specific to your industry that you're in, you can stay on top of it so that you can help teach those that are looking up to you as the industry expert or as the skill expert in whatever the skill might be. So just because you're amazing at a specific topic, do not rest on your laurels, because eventually the industry will pass you by, and then you'll be looking around like, why isn't anyone listening to me anymore? All right? And talk about passing you by. I think one of the things that could certainly keep passing you by if you don't try to keep up is tech, right? Keep up with the Snapchats and the Facebook Lives and the Instagram stories. These are all hugely powerful tools to use within your businesses. And I think maybe we'll do some future episodes on each one of these, how you can use them to, build a following, build a flock of raving fans, and market your business via these channels. But do not ignore them. They are not going away. And certainly I think the whole adventures of 2020 and COVID have certainly proved the power of technology. And inside of there can be I'm trying to do a smooth transition, but I just failed at it. So I'm just going to jump right in here. I think one of the next tips I want to leave you with is partnering. Join forces. My man, Jake Anderson, is creating this really cool system of taking people through the podcast journey behind the scenes, right? So if you're a podcaster, there's a lot that goes into, creating your content, mapping it out, bringing guests on board, onboarding them, scheduling them, and then offboarding them afterwards. He's coming up with this really cool system behind the scenes to help podcasters just make that flow, that workflow a lot easier. And we've been chatting about joining forces with one of my podcast courses getting ready to come out, where they both complement each other very well. So if I come out and say, hey, here's a great way to be a podcaster, right? Here's how to start your podcast in the next 30 days for under $100. And by the way, my man, Jake Anderson, is going to help you keep it flowing with his cool little system. Now, these two things just fit together hand in glove. So think about partners that are out there, folks that are out there, businesses that are out there that would complement what it is you're offering your core audience, your tribe. And then reach out to them and say, hey, maybe we could do this JV, right? I talk about your product, you talk about my product, how they work so well together, and we both do better as a result. And I think that kind of helps with keeping you from diluting your product or service by introducing 87 other product or services. I know I worked with a client for about 5 years who was doing very well in the apparel industry, and they kept adding new lines of apparel to their offering. And in the meantime, what kept selling the most and the best was this handful of core pieces, right? So they found their niche. They found what their core customer liked, but they kept throwing all these new, almost unassociated additions into the mix, right? So they were spending all this money and all these resources to introduce these lines, to obviously design them, to have them made, have them brought in to the States here, and then, printed in catalogs and put up on their website. So all those resources were dedicated just to feel, my core audience still love these handful of pieces, so I'm not saying don't add new lines to your business that, obviously makes sense, but don't keep adding things just to keep adding things, especially if your customers aren't asking for them. And if you come up with an idea, maybe you reach out to them and say, hey, you get a few of them together and say, here's what I'm thinking about doing. Let me get your input. And they may tell you, yeah, I don't see the benefit in that. All right. So you might just be adding to the noise of your business and creating those distractions that end up, starting that stumbling block that ends up causing some businesses to just disappear from the face of the earth. All right. So just a few pieces of information. I know they weren't marketing directly, but all of those pieces can certainly go right into your marketing to keep you focused, to get you going in the right direction and keep you going in the right direction, which is all we really want you to do. All right, my Dark Horse friends and family, that wraps up yet another amazing week here at the Dark Horse HQ. I hope you're getting value for this, and I know you want to keep getting all these daily success tips as well as the amazing guest interviews I'm able to bring in. Hey, and don't forget, we got Alex Vandahar coming on Monday, right? And he's going to teach you some amazing things about mixing the psychology with your marketing. Whoa, right? So go on down there, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of these episodes. While you're there, yeah, that's right. Go ahead, drop us a 5-star rating, leave us some kind words in the reviews. As I mentioned before, these subscribes, ratings, and reviews tell the podcast platforms that kick us up a little bit in the podcast rankings so that we can reach more driven entrepreneurs just like yourself. So please take a moment, show the love, and help spread the word. And then, hey, if you want to connect more, maybe even ask some questions and hang out with some other driven entrepreneurs, come on over and join us at the Dark Horse Facebook group, the Dark Horse Tribe. Go to facebook.com. In that search bar, type Dark Horse Tribe. You should see us right there at the top. If for some reason you can't find us that way, go to your favorite web browser, type darkhorseschooling.com/Dark Horse Tribe, all one word. That'll take you right there. I look forward to meeting you in the group. All right. You get out there, you run your race, you get your results. Come on into the Facebook group. Let me hear about them. I want to celebrate with you. Until next week, think successfully and take action.
Thank you for listening to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast.
And you know this!
Thanks for tuning in.
Check us out at www.darkhorseschooling.com.
All right.
My name is Tracy Brinkman.